Welcome everyone. My name is Maisha, and today I'll be taking you through I messed up, but it's fine. We can just keep going. Today I'll be taking you through a yoga evening sequence, and it's nothing special. They're basic or your standard yoga positions, but what we're really going to be focusing on is our breathing and going slow. So if you can find yourself towards your mat, and right now I'm sitting in the middle, but we're going to start off at the bottom or the top, whichever way you want to face. And our first position is going to be our child pose. So child pose starts off with us leaning back, sitting on our feet like so, and stretching our hands, particularly our fingers if we can feel them, all the way to the top as our chin is on our chest and our forehead is flat on the mat. With this position, I like to really stretch and reach forward as I open up my hips, trying to get as flat as possible on the mat. Breathing, finding my shoulders, leaning side to side if I can. Take it easy, it's the end of the day. So, just be grateful that you made it to the mat. So now what we're going to do, we're in our tabletop position, which is essentially all fours, and we're going to work on our breathing. So as we breathe in, we're going to bring our shoulders up, suck in our stomach, and curl our back like we were a cat. As we come down, we're going to let our breath out, and now we're going to arch our back as if we're trying to make otters as if we're a cow. We're going to do this breathing in, raising our back up, breathing out, arching it. And we're going to do this 3 times. That was already 2. And this is our 3rd one. Come down. Once we finish this pose, we're going to go into our downward facing dog, which requires us to find our toes on the mat, have them come from underneath us, and what we're going to do is we're going to push ourselves up with our palms using our feet, and we're going to make a peak with our hips. Pushing with our palms, we're going to try to make our head parallel as we stretch and find the tension, if there's any, in our hamstrings. And if it's feeling a lot, you can step into it as we're warming up our hamstrings by lifting your heel off the mat, rising it as we push our heels down to really get the full stretch, and pushing our hands towards the mat, finding our chin on our chest and our forehead pointing to our knees. Once we finish this, we're going to come forward to a chaturanga, arching ourselves up and really stretching our back in the opposite direction, breathing. Once we finish this, we're now going to go back to our plank position. We're going to step forward for our warrior stance as we are using our right foot, matching it with both of our hands at the top of the mat, having our back foot become now facing towards the wall. Using your right arm that's closest to your right leg, you're going to press your weight in, find your balance here as you stretch up. And we're going to come up slowly, pressing our weight into our front foot, into warrior 1, really trying to open up and find that lunge. As we do this, we're going to lean forward, and this is going to be our way of opening up to really open our warrior pose, as this is a crescent lunge. Once we do this, we're now going to come down and we're going to turn, placing our elbow on our leg to really get a full back stretch. Breathing in and out. Once we do this, we're now going to push up again. Warrior 1 position. We're going to come down. Downward facing dog, chaturanga. Come up. And now we're going to do the same thing, going back to our downward facing dog on the opposite side. So now we're going to step forward with our left foot, matching it with our 2 arms at the top of the mat, finding ourselves coming up, leaning into our lunge, finding our balance, coming out. Now there are a few different ways you can get into your warrior 1. I like to kind of feel my body out. Once we are now solid in our warrior one with our front foot facing forward, our back foot facing towards the opposite wall, we're now going to come forward and turn, stretching, crossing over. Sometimes when I'm doing this position, I like to come forward on both sides just to really get the full effect of this position. Once we finish this, we're going to now come back down to our downward facing dog. Stretching, stepping in to both sides. Now we're going to go back to chaturanga, utilizing our palms and really controlling the motion. If you can, try not to touch the ground. Now we're facing up. We're doing our chaturanga stretch. We're going to slowly come down to the mat, relaxing, having our palms to the top. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to slowly turn, facing up, breathing, having our palms to the top facing the ceiling. And we're just going to rest here. Believe it or not, that was our whole yoga sequence, and you did it. Nothing too challenging as it's the evening. We're taking it slow. Be thankful that you were able to come to your mat today. And even if you didn't feel your best, you made it. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. And as you finish, we're going to slowly come up. And we're going to find ourselves into the middle of the mat. As we breathe and relax, take our time. Downward facing dog is really challenging as it changes to where our blood flow is, and sometimes it can take you out. Thank you for coming today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your week ahead of you if you're starting the week off with this. Thank you for tuning in, and my name is Maisha, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks.